Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Abstraction Cup quarterfinals. We are rolling right along with the last couple of matches of the weekend. We have another very exciting block of matches for you today. We'll be bringing you guys the Sound of Leyo, the 26th seed, going against Dragons, the 18th seed, to see who will be continuing on to the semi-finals. As always, my name is Sparky, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by none other than Wanijimaru. How's it going, man?
Hello everybody, once again here for another match, 2 matches in a row. And yeah, thank you very much again for the intro, Sparky, and excited to see how this match is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. This is gonna be a bit of a cluster of matches. We have this one, and we've got 2 other matches going on at the same time on B and C streams. So gonna be interesting to keep track of everything going on. But for right now, this will be the main focus, the only one that wasn't rescheduled of the other 3. So that's why it gets the priority. A 99 coming through from Dragons to the 20 of the Sound of Leyo, so they get the option to choose what they want to do here.
I gotta say, one funny thing is when I saw that roll 99, I'm like, how is it possible that 2 matches in a row I see the same roll? Like on the match before, there was a 99 roll as well.
Every time I see a 99, I just hold my breath and hope that there's a 100 on the other side, because it's just like I'm that kind of person that it's like, watch this be the 1% roll and just hitting it. But it looks like the Sound of Leyo will be protecting first. They opt for Rice 5 for the protect. Pretty interesting. Gonna go a little bit more the tech-oriented route on the lower side of the Rice pool. I'll be interested to see what the protect and ban for Dragons is going to be in response.
Alright, that's going to be interesting, as you mentioned, for the Rice 5 to be protected. But I don't think it's firstly a bad choice. Of course, like usual, depends on the skill sets of the team, but as a Rice, if you want to protect it, I think it somewhat makes sense. It's not... I don't think it's the Rice that demands most density compared to some others, especially Rice 2 and 3, which are clearly orientated on the stamina side or more like dense side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then for Dragons...
Another protect, in fact, we have Ellen 2 as a protect.
And the immediate Rice 7 ban, so maybe Dragons kind of showing their hand a little bit, not wanting to play any of these more technical oriented picks on the bottom side. So if it wasn't Rice 5, then Rice 7 feels like a pretty slam dunk kind of a ban in response. The LN2 protect also kind of alluding to maybe them wanting to spend time in this lower half of the map pool. And it looks like Sound of Leyo gonna ban LN3 from the pool in response.
Alright, so far, I've got nothing to say. I think it makes sense for what the teams picked here. Let's see what map we're going to see as the first map played. And they're going to straight up go with the protect. LN2 is going to be the choice.
Yeah, just maybe wanting to get things off on the right foot. This is the last match before semifinals for both of these teams. Tournament lives on the line for both of them, so maybe just not wanting to take any risks, go with something that they know they can perform on and just see how things go. If the answer back from the Sound of Leyo is that they get that opening breakpoint, so be it. But I imagine they kind of just want to ensure that they get at least a point on the board to start this match off.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so funny comment in the chat. Apparently Dragons didn't know which map to protect. They just protected LM2, I guess.
I mean, there's always some train of thoughts that I like to go into when it comes to protects. Either the song is good or the song is short. And this one being just under 2 minutes tells me that that might be a good reason to protect it. But regardless, we got Soundy in for the Sound of Leyo and Rin's Reds going in for Dragons to try and get this protect on the board for them. Not a long ride, but definitely a ride both players need to go on as we get on into it. Soundy finding the first drop between the two players as Rin's Reds crosses that 400 combo cap to secure about an 8,000 point lead right out of the gate here.
Oh yeah, this is unfortunately not a good start for the Son of Leyo, considering that they once again get a miss on the side of Sondi. One thing I also forgot to mention is that the Son of Leyo managed to win against the seed 8 before 6-3, which is quite an impressive score differential, I'd say. So curious to see how they're going to do against Dragons, though. So far, Dragons looking very solid on the first half. Rin's Reds maintaining a very good accuracy here.
Yeah, still staying above that 99.7 mark, still holding on to the FC. Soundy picking up some accuracy drops down into that low 99% range and just helping expand this lead for Dragons. 20,000 points to the good now as we cross into the last third of the chart. And I mean, ball fully in Rin's court here in terms of controlling the map pace and being able to maintain this level of accuracy. There's really not much Soundy can do from this position with a quarter of the map left.
Yeah, pretty much true. We're also almost at the end of the map. This is one of the shortest in the pool. And it's pretty much going to be the point for Rin's Reds here with a secured point, considering that this was their quote-unquote protect.
Yeah, very strong showing overall on that protect to open this match off, and they will be securing that one. It will be an opening 0-1 for Dragons, a 24,000 point win, almost a 990k as well. And I mean, there's really not much you can do with a score like that. That is an incredible performance from them as they close this one out. Alrighty, so going into the next pick, Sound of Leyo up to bat for their first one in this match. It will be Rice 1 as a response. So not opting to go protect for protect. They're going to opt to go for, I'd say, the one of the more quote-unquote straightforward, I say that with the biggest quotation marks, maps in this pool. I imagine both players will probably have some pretty high accuracy on this. It's really just going to come down to those little mistakes in the middle portions where either like a tiny hiccup here, like a 200 rush there. But this will help really set the stage of if we're going to have like a true Rice versus LN style of a match here.
Yeah, we'll see how this one goes. Now, for the kind of Rice map this one is, Rice 1 is one of the easier maps, I'd say, in the pool. Not firstly because of the OD, of course, because it's 8.5, that is pretty high OD, but more so on the pattern side, in fact. Mostly how the patterns are placed and the fact that there are some pretty sensible breaks as well through the map, through the song.
Yeah, not really any major tripping points, at least stylistically, in comparison to some of the other charts in this pool. That's not to say it's not hard. I'm more than sure that there are some potential breakpoints in this map, and with the fact that you have 3 minutes in comparison to the minute 50 from the previous LN chart, there is some room for recovery. If there are any mistakes, we get a full substitution here from both teams. So Yellow and Kapupa going to be in for their respective squads. So I imagine this is basically going to be how it goes as this match progresses. And the real question is, who's going to be in for the hybrids now?
Well, we're about to find out. Also, I just realized that they pretty much traded the players here, both teams. So we have Kapupa and Yellow entering to play the Rice 1.
Yeah, so the more Rice confident players entering for both teams, opening bursts, not catching out either player, and I imagine this is going to be the tail of the tape for these Rice picks where they are just going to be neck and neck in terms of opening accuracy. We'll see how it develops as this chart progresses, but ultimately there is nothing separating these two as they cross that 400 combo cap into this first TI section.
Oh yeah, this is already pretty neck on neck actually for both players, but Yellow getting a slight advantage in accuracy. Right now there was a slight drop from Kappa, 0.1%, 0.2%, no difference between both players.
Yeah, just a couple of 200s dotting the landscape for Kapupa, able to hang on to the FC, but taking a pretty substantial amount of damage to their accuracy now in that mid 99% range. Yellow just standing firm, 99.87 for them after the first third of the chart, not really phased by any of those heavier dump sections, and as this progresses, those are just going to get layered further and further. A tiny bit of a break for both players to catch their breath with half the map already gone. It is a 4,600 point lead for Yellow in their attempt to respond and maintain parity in this match.
Right, so we slowly entered into the second half of the map, and soon about to get back into the drop. Miss from Kappa though.
Yeah, and that's going to help extend this lead for Yellow now to 10,000 points, getting some free time to get full credit for their judgments as Kapupa needs to make that recovery run. They were already lagging behind in terms of the accuracy, so gonna need a trade back potentially to help shrink this advantage, but now Yellow has firm control of the chart going into the outro.
Yeah, there's already quite a difference in terms of accuracy between both players, and I think that almost seals the deal, in fact.
Potentially, it would take a massive drop here at the end to capitulate this lead, but it's only growing 16,000 points. You feel like they could even afford to get away with one if they were to find one this late on. An eighth of the chart still left to go. Still the immaculate accuracy, but a second drop from Kapupa. They're gonna basically finish this map out. A valiant effort, looked very strong to the introduction, but just unfortunately not able to see it through to the end, and Yellow going to successfully respond back and make this match 1-1 now.
Right, so no sweeps for any of the teams here.
I didn't even see that 50 come through. The fact that they're holding on to 99.8 with a 50 is crazy.
That sure is. I also didn't see that bad note there.
I feel like it might have come like towards the end, like literally like one of the last couple of notes or one of the last bursts potentially, because I feel like that would have dropped it a tiny bit, made a bit of a recovery run. The fact that it fell from that 8-9 to the 8-2 potentially. But I mean, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. They got the point. It's back to Dragon's pick. Gonna be interesting to see what they decide to go for. LN2 worked out great in their favor. Don't see why not stick with maybe like LN1 or LN4 now. You can also attempt the hybrids.
True, they do have the opening there. When it comes to maps, they can still try around the hybrids and the lens. I think the Rise is where they're going to try to dodge it, considering the performance that Yellow is capable of doing in the Rise, from the looks of it. And they're going to go with hybrid too.
Yeah, unsurprising. This has been a pretty popular chart from what I have seen this round, at least for the more LN-oriented players. And now we see the real major decision point in the match, where you start to blend the two styles a little bit. Who is going to be in to play this? It looks like it's going to be Rins for Dragons, and looks like potentially Soundy. Soundy going to be checking in, so we have our more mixed players stepping in now for this hybrid 2. Same equation as Rice 1, where it's almost 3 minutes, lower OD, and a lot more to work with in terms of pain points throughout this chart. So gonna have to see how this one goes.
Alright, both teams ready for the hybrid 2. Let's see. So we get pretty much the same players covering the hybrid and alliance here. Right, so far a good start for the two players. Slight lead goes for Ringsreg.
Yeah, both players crossing that 400 combo cap, able to hold on to their FCs through this introduction, and not really finding any major accuracy drops as things start to settle down now. It is about 0.1% in favor of Dragons. 700 points right now, very little to hang your hat on. Can flip in an instant, just takes one bad section to really turn this map on its head. But as it stands, quarter of the map already done, and both players standing firm, kind of settling in now as we make our way further into this map.
Alright, very close so far still. 99.71 versus 99.80.
Yeah, first third of the map already. There's the first miss coming through for Dragons. Rinsrez gonna find the first miss, gonna give the lead back on over to the sound of Leyo. Soundy holding on to the FC. Third of the map still left to go here. Still plenty of time for that recovery. And the fact that the accuracies are still relatively even, I think the onus really does fall on Rinsrez to be able to climb in terms of the overall accuracy to try and snatch this one back. It's still all to play for here with a quarter of the map left to go.
Yeah, indeed. It's mostly going to be playing around the accuracy department if Rinsreg manages to get more accuracy in the last quarter of the map. I think there's a chance that they take back the point, but so far it's more looking on the side of Sondi, which is maintaining the full combo.
4,000 point lead just buoyed by that singular drop from Rinsrez, and so far Soundy looking very strong, holding on to the FC, still trying to hang on to as much accuracy as they can. They can't afford to find any accuracy drops through this outro. The lead is shrinking. It's inside of 3,000 points for every 100th of a point that Rinsrez can find through this outro. It starts chipping away. Can Soundy hang on? This would be the first breakpoint of the match. If they can hang on, it's still tantalizingly close with inside of 3,000 points, 2,500 points. Is there enough time? There isn't. The sound of Leyo hang on. Soundy hangs on for the FC to get that first breakpoint to make it 2-1 now.
That's going to be a very good breakpoint here for the sound of Leyo. Very good. Also, regular side though, Rinsreg looked pretty nice with 577. Quite the difference between both players when it comes to how comfortable they can be with the lands, but Sondi did a good performance, maintaining a good accuracy, maintaining the full combo, and that has proven to be enough for the breakpoint.
Yeah, very well done. And good accuracy goes unrewarded. It's just being able to hang on to the FCs here. And Sound Leyo wasting no time. Rice 5. So going straight for the protect after the breakpoint. Very much looking to try and turn the screw here on the proceedings. Try and capitalize on that opportunity to go 3-1 up.
Yeah, going already with the protect on the side of Sound of Leyo. So most likely, yeah, Yellow is going to be the one playing the map. Kapupa seems to be the other player to cover for the Rice 5, it seems. And I think it's going to pretty much be like that for the rest of the match, where Yellow and Kapupa covers the Rice maps, and then Rinsreg and Sondi go with the Alliance and hybrid maps. But that 1 point difference is going to pay off a lot, in fact. Like, the Sound of Leyo will be able to get that advantage through the rest of the match.
Absolutely. The onus falls on Dragons now to find a breakpoint answer back. And for right now, I mean, casually, both players holding us 100% accuracy. It's only the first 100 notes, but the fact that, okay, there we go. First 300 comes down on the side of the sound of Leyo, but I imagine the bar is basically 99.9. At least as far as this opening sequence is concerned, it can change in an instant as soon as somebody finds either a stray 200 or just a rush of 300s. But so far, there is very little separating the players at the moment.
Yes, indeed. I'm actually... Ooh, wait, nothing. There's been quite some small drop from Capua. In fact, 99.80 is where we're at, and Yellow is maintaining the 99.9 and above when it comes to accuracy.
Yeah, so
and
far.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all I was about to say is like just very little separating the players still as we continue on. It's just Kapupa taking that little bit more damage as the layering begins to get denser and denser as this map progresses. So gonna have to watch out for them, see if they can climb back up or at the very least just maintain an FC run and hope to catch Yellow on a miss. And so far, with half the map gone, Yellow still in firm control. As I say that, finding the drop, and Kapupa trades it back this time around. Higher damage taken by Kapupa, down still a 0.1%. All things square once again. Both players trying to recover here from their drops. Kapupa with a second one now, going to compound matters for Team Dragons as Yellow starts to stretch this advantage. 13,000 points. Kapupa finding some more drops going into the last third of the map and just running out of steam here in the back half.
That is really unfortunate. Lots of misses from Capua, which in fact increased the points difference between both players here. And Yellow also got another miss, but it is still showcasing very good accuracy. And that difference is so far sealing the deal for the Protect.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine some hard-in-mouth moments for Yellow. I imagine they want to try and sharpshoot these maps as much as they can. So finding those two drops make it very dubious in terms of thinking that they might still be ahead. But no, they have this one secured. 16,000 points, barring any collapses here at the end. There's still plenty of positions where they could find drops, but I mean, outside of the couple of misses, Kapupa with another one as well, gonna help seal the deal on this one. The Protect is secured for the Sound of Leyo, and it is now 3-1 in their favor as we continue through this outro. Yellow doing more than enough there.
That is going to be a solid point taken, at least on the side of the Sound of Leyo. Good ratio as well, actually, for both players, I'd say. Not too bad.
Absolutely. Great runs overall. It's just those little moments, those little flashpoint moments where we saw that first trade, but as we continued on, just damage mitigation, Yellow did a much better job of it in those exchanges and really benefited from it at the end. But now with Dragons up to pick, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another LN or hybrid. I think Yellow is basically unplayable at this point on the Rice picks unless they decide to do some crazy mix-up. We do have some core jack maps potentially that could shake things up, but I don't think they're willing to gamble that being down 2 points now.
Yes, indeed. Alright, they're immediately picking on to LN1.
Okay, unsurprising here. Invasion of Stray Cats and just going back into a more comfortable style for them. They found success on LN2, so probably see Soundy and Rintrez coming in for the respective teams to face off on this one. The good thing is that with the fact that we're jumping up and down the map pool so much is that we're not ticking up anybody's play count to more than one, so it makes it very easy to keep track of, thankfully.
That is true. That is pretty true as well, because once we know that the player has played 3 times, we know that the other person, the other player, will be entering for the next peak. And this is where things become interesting, because depending on the peaks, you somewhat have to build a strategy to know when to send the player on the specific peaks. So one thing I wondered as well is maybe some teams have at least 2 players playing well the same map, which can help to maybe switch to said player depending on the situation.
Absolutely. I mean, thankfully for this match, it's been pretty cut and dry where the proficiencies have laid so far. Can change if there's just one surprise pick or if there's just like a sudden mix-up where they want to experiment a little bit. Just try something to get a point on a playstyle that they might not have been successful at so far. But I mean, going into this one, it's basically the same as it was in LN2, where Rinsrez just has this slight accuracy advantage over Soundy for the moment. But it is within catching distance. It is only 0.08% for the moment, inside of 1,000 points through this first quarter. But Dragon's holding on to that lead for the moment here.
Alright, so far, yeah, looking pretty good in terms of lead, but they must maintain the lead because otherwise Sandy might be able to prove us once again of another full combo like they've done. And no, unfortunately that's me cursing the player. Unfortunately a miss from Sandy here. Rinsreg is the one maintaining the full combo.
Sounds like they didn't get the memo that time around. Still holding on to that FC for the moment as we cross into the second third of the map. Rinsrez still holding on to the FC here. 3,000 points and change. And a miss in the back pocket to work with for now. I mean, this lead isn't really growing by a substantial amount. Just a couple hundred points here and there as the players continue through here. The fact that they're maintaining pace with each other, just 0.1%, and for every little micro stutter that Rinsrez might have going into the back half now, gives an opportunity potentially for Soundy to make up some ground here, but it is only growing in favor of Dragons for now. 5,000 points with a third of the map left to go.
Yeah, indeed. The lead increasing mostly due to the accuracy that is increasing on the side of Rinsreg. But the same goes for Sondi, but considering that the anime is earlier, it's pretty much self-explanatory for now.
On a second one to boot here, not going to help matters as we cross into the last quarter of the map. Pretty clean in general, losing about 0.1%, and it bodes well. But unfortunately in this situation, just not getting those misses traded back by Rinsrez as they're just continuing to climb, getting more and more settled into this chart, looking very comfortable on this one. 8,000 points of a cushion to work with now, with only the outro left to go through here.
There was a slight accuracy drops from Rinsreg, but it's not too bad. It's still going to be 99.64% here. We're 30 seconds away from the end of the song as well. Looking pretty good for Dragons as long as they maintain the full combo, because Sondi is perhaps catching, and that miss is maybe going to play up until the end. Oh, this is looking close this time.
Small little hiccup here from Rinsrez. 5,000 points still in the lead here. Soundy with enough accuracy to potentially capitalize on another one should it come through, but with the last couple of notes raining down here, gonna be a case of too little too late, and Dragons secure their second point on the board. The LNs really working out in their favor in this match so far, and it is 3-2. Leyo still having that break point in the back pocket to work with, and I imagine we're just gonna go back to the rice picks.
Yeah, most likely indeed. But which rice is it going to be?
I mean, they've got a pretty decent assortment. Rice 1 looked really nice from them. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a Rice 2 potentially as a follow-up. You still have the Core Jack picks, but no, not going to be either of those. It's going to be Rice 6.
Alright, so Rice 6, once again, I think that's a technical kind of rice, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, in comparison to some of the other maps, or some of the other rice picks in the pool, I think just the last remaining more technical-oriented style. And not surprising, I think if Rice 7 was available, they probably would have gone for that as well. But just wanting to get these more physically demanding picks potentially. We're going to see Yellow and Kapupa once again face off. Yellow currently 2-0 over Kapupa in the head-to-head matchup. And, I mean, Kapupa's been in those situations where they've kept it close through the intros, just not able to see these maps out. If they can just have a clean run on this one, I fancy their chances of potentially sneaking out one of these picks. And with only 2 minutes to work with, all it takes is one mistake.
Absolutely.
So getting this one underway, gonna take a little bit for things to ramp up here for the players. So some free time to just get some free accuracy, just build up the combo, just get settled in here, because once it starts, it's not gonna stop. And we can already see a glimpse of what is to come. These wild trills, mini jack patterns, just anchors layered throughout, gonna make it as awkward as humanly possible to play through. But I mean, with the way these two have been playing through these introductions, there's very little to worry about as we progress into the next section of the chart.
Yeah, from the looks of it, I actually wonder if we might see a breakpoint in this pick, in fact. It's very close performances here.
Yeah, this is not a lot of time to work with, and like I said, it's like Kapupa has had their moments of ending toe-to-toe with Yellow. They just haven't been able to close some of these maps out, either by the length or just by certain patterns catching them out. But this has been a very strong start for them. Crossing into the halfway point of the chart, they are virtually tied. Just a handful of 300s maybe going one way or the other, but Kapupa finds a drop in the transition into the last third of the chart, leaving Yellow on an island to work with. And this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. It's strong starts, but just not being able to close it out here. Yellow still standing firm, 99.9 from them, still holding on to the FC. Could change in an instant. 16,000 points on a map this short isn't anything to sneeze at. It can evaporate in an instant if they aren't too careful, but they have looked so strong on these Rice charts so far, and looking to poised to close this one out as well.
Yes, indeed. That was a very solid start from Kapupa, in fact, maintaining pretty much like similar accuracy with Yellow. But unfortunately, those drops just seals the deal, and that's going to be another point for the Son of Leyo. And I think that breakpoint is just looking much more scary, because they might as well be closer for the win now. They just need 2 points, and they're having that advantage. Also, insane regulars amount, I'm not gonna lie. Very good score from the Yellow. Also good regulars as well for Kapupa.
Absolutely. The fact that we were robbed of a double V1SS separated just by the judgments, that could have been a 996 versus like a 995, potentially inside of 1,000 points. But I mean, unfortunately, just not seeing these maps out to the end has been the Achilles heel for this Dragons team on these Rice charts. They have been in gilded edge opportunities to take some of these away, but just Yellow being able to weather the storm, weather what's been thrown at them, to take advantage on those picks. And for Dragons, I mean, at least they have a home in the LN so far. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw LN4 come out, just to potentially go 3 for 3. The only blemish in this match for them has been that hybrid 2 pick. So, I mean, it's not like they're getting blown out of the water here by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, indeed, I agree, actually. I think going for the LN4 will make the better pick here, because they can get a bit more advantage since it's mostly LNs compared to hybrid, where you have that mix of LNs and Rice. And I think Dragons have more of a chance there, but no, they're going to pick hybrid 3.
I'm not too sure about that one, Chief. I mean, they're the ones that have to play it, so they have the confidence to go through with it. But I mean, they've looked so good on the LNs. Like, why would you, I mean, maybe saving it for a last pick potentially if it comes down to it. But I mean, hybrid 2 went, I don't want to say south, but it didn't work out in their favor. And we got Soundy and Rinzrez coming in for this one. Unsurprising, they have been the two facing off against each other on this bottom half of the map pool, but this will be the turning point of this match if Sound and Leyo get a break point here, because I imagine they're just gonna shotgun like Rice 2 immediately after this if they get the break point.
Yeah.
So I mean, Rinzrez has stepped up to the plate on these more LN oriented picks. They have been the ones that have earned the points for Team Dragons on this side of the map pool. So I mean, if they're calling their own shot, then who are we to judge them?
True. I think maybe it's due to perhaps the technicality that is present in Hybrid 3, which is, I'd say, more demanding than the LN4, perhaps.
Maybe.
Alright, so far looking good. Rizreg getting that advantage by 0.15% of difference for now. And there's going to be the first miss, in fact, in this pick. Somebody getting a miss. Why the drop in accuracy as well? We're now having 0.5% of difference between both players. And Rizreg is going to be taking that opportunity to seal the deal here in this pick. But that's just the first quarter of the map, so
yeah, still plenty of time, but I mean, the question that would have been posed would be how can they handle these Rice transitions, and the answer has been very, very comfortably, just looking unfazed as Soundy finds another drop from the Rice into the LN transitions. These bursts come and go so wildly at times that you sometimes overthink the starts and stops of them, and so far 2 drops for them, an FC still for Rinzrez, trying to keep their team afloat here, and another one for Soundy going to Compound Matters now, 18,000 points and climbing as Rinzrez just standing on an island alone for a moment. 99.76% accuracy, half the map left to go, a full 0.5% in the back pocket, as well as a few misses to boot. It's looking good. It's looking really good for them so far. As we get into this next PI section, can they maintain this pace? They need to, and they need to start thinking about trying to find a map that they can get a break point on to get themselves back into this match, because yeah, this map's going great, but the cards are still in the Sound of Leo's hands right now as we continue on through this last third.
Yes, indeed. Also, mostly going to depend on the map that the Sound of Leo is going to pick. And the hard spot is that we know they're going to be picking the Rise, but the question is Capable going to be able to manage to surprise the opponent? Because I think they are clearly capable of, considering the insane beginning that they managed to get when it comes to the accuracy. And they call take away maybe the Rise 2 or Rise 3, so it really is going to depend on what the other team, the Sound of Leo, has in mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, what an insane performance meanwhile from Rinzreg, getting a very good accuracy right now, 99.75, and with a full combo.
Yeah, just a stellar performance from them so far. Soundy, for what it's worth, still able to hold on to that 99%, but I mean, this one from that first miss has been all Rinzrez, and Dragons looking on point to secure their 3rd point in this match, still needing that break point, but I mean, doing themselves some really good favors here. Sound and Leyo up to pick next, and I mean, there's some pretty good picks here. I mean, 3 Rice picks still remaining. It's just a matter of which one you want to go for, and we'll just have to wait and see. All right, Rice 3. Don't even have to think about it too hard. Rice 3 is going to be the pick for the Sound of Leyo, and we're going to see the 2 mainstays, Kapupa and Yellow, going to step back in and duke it out once again. So far, 3-0 for Sound of Leyo. But, I mean, hey, we've been saying it this entire match so far. Kapupa has been in positions to potentially cause a bit of a shakeup here, so I wouldn't count them out by any stretch of imagination on this one.
Yeah, I think if, and this is the question I'm asking myself, if they picked Rice 4, wouldn't have this been a more guaranteed kind of pick for the Son of Yellow?
It's a good question. When it comes to, I think Rice 4 is our core jack pick, if I'm remembering the pool correctly. There's so many maps to try and keep track of sometimes. I always say the maps like that are just double-edged swords, where it's like everybody and their mothers, it feels like, can play Korjak nowadays. At least in the context of this tournament. But it just takes one miss and the other person having the run of their life to completely throw things into disarray. So potentially if they just have better accuracy, but I wouldn't want to put myself through that if there are other options, at least personally. So we'll have to see if this one pays off for the Sound of Leyo. Match point opportunity on the line here. An opportunity for Dragons to equalize things going into the last couple of picks.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Alright, let's see how this is going to go for both players, because they're capable of having a very good fight when it comes to the Rice picks. As long as Cooperman manages to maintain a full combo, hopefully so, because I think they can manage to get very good accuracy. It's just like the unfortunate chokes they've got through the map sometimes that really made the difference. Yellow proving more consistency through the map. But so far, still neck and neck in terms of accuracy. Yellow with the slight advantage when it comes to accuracy though.
Yeah, 250 BPM chord stream is absolutely bonkers to read through at times, and both players are making it look like child's play at the moment. 99.9s for both of them. Yellow holding on to the tiny accuracy advantage as we get through that first quarter of the map, and it's only 500 points separating the two of them as we continue on. And again, we find the same situation as it has been on the last couple of Rice charts, where it's a tiny margin between the two players. All eyes on Kapupa to see how they transition out of this intro. Can they maintain this pace through the back half of the chart? So far, they haven't found an answer for Yellow, but again, a great opportunity for them to try to get that breakpoint back from the Sound of Leyo here.
Unfortunately, a miss again for Kapupa here at the middle of the map. And meanwhile, Yellow is not dropping once any accuracy, pretty much maintaining the 99.97 at first half.
Oh, that's backbreaking. That is not the spot you want to find a drop in. Transitioning into the back half of the chart, it just feels like a switch turns on for them, and once they cross that halfway point, it's just all bets are off, and now they find themselves 0.5% behind, 20,000 points down. And again, the gauntlet has been thrown by Yellow. It's been there for the taking. They just haven't taken those opportunities when they have risen. And with this FC run, 99.96, just near immaculate accuracy, it's gonna take a massive collapse here at the end for any pieces to be picked up here from Dragons.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for Dragons, because now they are going to need to really get that breakpoint if they want to secure the tiebreakers, or otherwise that's going to be the victory for the Son of Leyo, which will be quite an impressive parkour, I'd say, considering the seeding they are as well. We're talking about seed 26.
Yeah, just
and also, is it me or Yellow is going to get an even higher accuracy than Vayne? Unreal. Unreal.
No. 80. No. That's gross. That's a gross score from Yellow. Come on, man.
That's just nasty. There's no other words that can be said. And as I mentioned on the previous match, we've had Vayne getting 998k as well. Yeah. But just 0.01% of difference. Just that. That is mad insane.
That they're good at Rice. What can I say? They've got these Rice picks on lock. They've got match points secured. And for Dragons, they still need to find that opening, to that one little crack in the armor from the Sound of Leyo. They have one LN pick left. I will say they didn't have any, but I lost track of the picks. But LN4, potentially. I don't see a world in which they go Hybrid 1. I've been proven wrong before. I've looked silly on air trying to figure out what teams will pick. It's gonna be Hybrid 1.
Oh boy. Not even LN4, by the way. They didn't even pick LM4 yet. They're going for Hybrid 1 instead.
I mean, hey, I doubted them on Hybrid 3, and I ate my words gladly. They showed me that they were able to do it, and hey, Rinsrez has been the one that's been getting the points for the Sound of Leyo against Soundy. It's like it's clear that we have two matchup favorabilities. It's just a matter of, can they do it here? I'm sure they're kicking themselves for that Hybrid 2 performance, because they're thinking how things could be so wildly different right now if they didn't capitulate that point. But that's a argument for another time. We're gonna see probably Soundy and Rinsrez once again here for this one.
True. Oh wait. Capital. Oh, okay. I was scared. I was thinking the capital name was like, isn't it going to be Rinsreg entering? But no, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Kapupa can swing a score on this, but I imagine Rinsrez is way more comfortable on these styles of picks in comparison. So we'll let them determine their own fate. They need to win this map, lest they face elimination. They need to get that breakpoint as well from the Sound of Leyo. And I always like to say it, the last point to get's always the hardest one. It just feels so far away, but we'll just wait and see.
Yeah, let's see if we get into a surprising tiebreaker. We never know. No, this one is clearly going to be the interesting pick here, considering that it's another fast BPM map, 256 for a hybrid map.
Yeah, just already flying off the handles here as we make our way into the next section. Both players handling this introduction very well, separated only by about a 1/10% as things stand.
There's like
it's still all to play for. 1,000 points separating the two players as we cross our way into the second quarter of the map. Rinsrez still holding on to the advantage here for the moment, but that being said, Soundy finding a bit of accuracy to work with here. 100% now. The lead has shrunk. The Sound of Leyo looking poised to try and do something here. Soundy doing everything in their power to try and cause the upset, at least seed-wise, between these two teams. Half the map still left to go. A tiny break for the players before things begin to pick up once again. 800 points separating the two teams as we continue on here.
This is very neck and neck. We're already in the second half of the map.
Oh no!
Unfortunate miss by Zombie here, right before the elements that were for the transition. That is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. They'll probably consider that missing on air when all thing is said and done. But that gives Rinsrez 6,000 points. A second drop for Soundy on those tiny staccato LNs. Going to increase this lead to 10,000 points now. A full 10.5 for Rinsrez to work with, as Soundy just not having the best of times through this section. The outro still coming through here. It is 15,000 points in favor of Dragons for now. Plenty of cushion for Rinsrez to work with and keeping themselves potentially alive for another chart here. And now all eyes potentially going to what that last pick is going to be for the Sound of Leyo. How do they want to try and close this one out? It's been potential breakpoints for Dragons, but they just haven't found the answer. Can they keep themselves alive? It is 5-4 with the Sound of Leyo up to pick next.
Yes, indeed. It all is going to depend on that last pick by the Sound of Leyo, though they do have a clear idea of what they're going to perhaps look for. But there's also another problem. If they ever get to tiebreaker, who would play the tiebreaker on the side of the Sound of Leyo? Because I'd say it's most likely going to be Zombie playing it, considering the presence of a lens, because Yellow is more looking as a Rice player, which is where they can cover the best. So it really is going to depend on that. And they're going to pick Rice 4.
All right, you're going to get your answer for what could have been for this Rice 4 pick. See who will be in for this one. I imagine it's going to be Kapupa and Yellow once again. I mean, these two have been clashing heads the entire match. And so far, 4-0 Yellow. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They need to keep it clean if they are going to be contesting on this one. And, I mean, I don't want to say it's guaranteed, because anything can still happen, but, I mean, that it's going to have to be the second half of a lifetime for Kapupa if they are in the lobby here to get the breakpoint back. Not impossible, but...
True, that will require some impressive scenario to be able to see some tiebreaker, but we never know.
Yeah, so we'll get the map loaded up here. It looks like it will be Yellow stepping in. And I don't see Kapupa stepping in. Will it be Rinsrez stepping in? All right. Potential little wrinkle developing in this match. This throws all the preconceived notions out the window for us in terms of head-to-head matchups.
This is going to be a rough one to think, because Yellow most likely is going to show us an incredible performance again on the Rise. And if Kapupa entered, I think maybe they will do well, but the scary thing is, will they be able to not choke during the map, is the question. But so far, Rinsreg seems to be, like you said, stepping in.
Yeah, maybe just stylistically, it's not something I haven't seen before, where the LN hybrid player steps in for certain Rice picks because they have the higher accuracy on them, while the other player does basically every other map. So maybe it is one of those switch ups. And like I said, this is a complete unknown for this matchup, where how do these two compare against each other? Because Rinsrez has only faced off against Soundy and Yellow's only faced off against Kapupa. So this is tournament life on the line for Dragons, and it's gonna have to be the breakpoint of a lifetime, the run of a lifetime for Rinsrez here.
Absolutely, and so far it's looking scary on the side of the two players. They're looking very solid through the intro on that first quarter. Yellow having the advantage when it comes to accuracy, as usual, keeping that 99.9% through pretty much all the Rice maps. And it will really depend on where Yellow misses, pretty much. Which I wonder, because this is like a lot of core jacks through the map.
Yeah, this is 150 BPM core jacks, a couple of bursts interspersed in between, and I mean they've been basically double-digit perfecting every Rice chart so far, give or take one or two potentially as this match has progressed. And there's Rinsrez right there, just behind 700% separating the two players for right now 1,200 points. Going into the last third of the map, it is still all to play for. This is once again tournament life on the line for both of these teams. Yellow trying to get themselves into the semifinals. Rinsrez looking to try and get that tiebreaker to be played. And in that matchup, I mean, you imagine with the versatility of Rinsrez, they fancy their chances on it, but they have to get past this map. Last outro coming through here, last eighth of the map, and it is still a 1/10% between the two players. Who is going to blink first? It is 2,000 points. Rinsrez finds the drop going into the outro.
There was no way to stop him for the Yellow. What a monster, proving that he is the dragon of the match when it comes to Rice. Unbelievable. 55 regulars. What? What can you do against such wall?
Yeah, I mean, you just at that point you just got to tip your cap to the guy. It's like, all right, All right, I guess you're the better Rice player today. 55 300s, can't ask for much more than that. And Rinzrez, for what it's worth, a valiant effort, near V1SS, a singular drop, black flag performance otherwise would have been outact at the end of the day, but it at the end of the day, if one of these teams has to lose, and Sound and Leyo secure the match by a score of 6-4, denying us the tiebreaker, unfortunately, but giving us a hell of a show in the meantime, securing their spot in the semifinals. Another upset for them as they continue this tear through the lower bracket.
Yes, indeed. And also, what else can I say? Everything came down to just one map. In fact, through the match, it was mostly due to the Hybrid 2 map that changed the course of how the match goes. Because
Yeah,
it on paper, it will have been the point of Rinse Reg, but those misses went in, and with the full combo of Sunday, well, it pretty much changed how the match looks. So Sound of Leo, we will see them on the next week, actually 2 weeks later, in semifinals,
later.
once again in the loser brackets. But still, big ups nonetheless for Dragons to have reached so far. Unfortunately, that's the end of their adventure, and yeah.
Yeah, we hope they had fun. Yep, that'll do it for us here. The other matches, Unicorn Butterflies finding the win over Leon 6-2. And there is another match ongoing. It is Salmon Noodle versus Femturnus and some random on our B stream. I believe that is, you can find the link in the Discord for that one. But until then, we'll go ahead and sign off here. The next matches are going to occur. We have one more today at 18 UTC. It's FFRD 19 versus Star Blazing. To see who makes it through the lower bracket into the semifinals there. And then 2 more matches on Monday. And like Wanijimaru mentioned, no showcase for this week. We are taking a tiny bit of a break. And we'll be back not the next weekend, the following weekend with the semifinals. So definitely keep an eye out for further developments. Hopefully you guys catch the rest of the matches. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.